Do you ever look at your life, your job, your relationships, your bank account, and feel the quiet, sickening dread of being a waster? You see other men building, achieving, commanding respect, while you feel like you are running in place, stuck in a loop of mediocrity you cannot seem to break. You tell yourself it's the economy, it's your boss, it's your upbringing. You create 1,000 excuses for why your life lacks power, why your words carry no weight, and why your plans wither and die before they can even take root. You feel like a ghost in your own story, haunting the edges of a life you were meant to command. But let me ask you a question that cuts closer to the bone. A question society has trained you to ignore, to laugh off, to dismiss as foolish. How can you expect not to be a waster in life when you so casually waste the very fluid of life from your own body? You spill your seed on bedsheets and glowing screens, and then wonder why the seeds of your ambitions bear no fruit in the world. You masturbate yourself to death, and then wonder why you have no energy, no drive, no fire to pursue your grandest goals. You have been taught that this act is meaningless, a simple biological function. But the great masters of the East knew the terrifying truth, and much of this knowledge is from the book Continence and its creative power, 1943, that it is the most meaningful act a man can perform, for in that moment, he chooses his destiny. He chooses to be a king or a slave, a creator or a waster. This is the secret that has been stolen from you. The modern world, with its endless distractions and cheap dopamine, has sold you a lie. It has taught you to trade your masculine power for momentary relief. It has convinced you to empty your own life force and then has the audacity to sell you pills and potions to deal with the anxiety, depression, and weakness that inevitably follow. The disrespect you feel from the world is not a mystery. The reason people talk over you, ignore your ideas, and treat you as secondary is a direct reflection of the choice you are making in private. You are treating your own essence as worthless, and the world is simply agreeing with you. It is time to wake up. The power to change your entire reality does not lie in a new job or a new car. It lies in a new choice. It lies in the decision to stop being a waster. It begins the moment you recognize that your semen is not a biological byproduct. It is your power, it is your spirit in liquid form. The moment you decide to conserve this sacred fluid, you begin a revolution against the weak, disrespected man you have been. You start to build a reservoir of power that will change everything. The path of the masters is not about adding something to your life. It is about stopping the one thing that is taking everything away. The great secret held by the masters is this: respect is not a social negotiation, it is an energetic reality. You do not ask for it, you do not plead for it, you do not perform for it. You command it by the simple, undeniable fact of your own inner state. Think of your life force, your semen, as the reserve currency backing your entire being. When your reserves are high, your words have weight, your actions have impact. Your silence itself becomes a statement of power. When your reserves are low, you are running on energetic debt. You are needy. You seek validation from others because you have no inner source of it. Your words are hollow because they are not backed by any real force. You are easily shaken, easily provoked. This is why you lose arguments even when you are right. It is not about the logic of your words, it is about the energetic force behind them. The person with the greater self-possession, the deeper reservoir of conserved energy, will always dominate the frame. The masters were not shy about this truth. They spoke in stark, brutal terms about the direct link between a man's private habits and his public ruin. A physician, Dr. Nichols, saw the physiological reality behind the spiritual law. He warned that when this vital fluid is wasted, it leaves a man effeminate, weak, and irresolute, intellectually and physically debilitated. Is this not the very picture of the modern man who commands no respect? Weak in his convictions, unable to make a decision, a ghost in his own life. The great sage Sri Krishna was even more direct, stating that lust itself ruins life, luster, strength, vitality, memory, wealth, fame, holiness, and devotion to truth. It doesn't just make you weak, it destroys every pillar of a respectable life. Your vitality, your memory, even your wealth and fame are all tied to this sacred energy. Another master, Guru Dattatreya, put it simply: By a sexual act, semen is lost, and by the loss of semen, life is wasted and incapability grows. You are cultivating your own incompetence. You are choosing to be incapable, and the world has no respect for the incapable. This is not a moral judgment. It is a statement of cause and effect. The habit of release forges a chain around your will. The physiologist John G. M. Kendrick observed that the new need becomes a tyrant if you yield to it. Every fresh act will forge a new link in the chain of habit, he wrote. Eventually, many men no longer have the strength to break it and helplessly end in physical and intellectual ruin, slaves of a habit. A slave earns no respect. A man ruled by his lowest impulses cannot command his own life, let alone the attention of others. A spiritual giant knew this. He said that the chaste brain possesses tremendous energy and gigantic willpower. He taught that this continence gives wonderful control over mankind. This is not about hypnotizing people. It is about the simple fact that a man who is master of his own inner world projects an aura of authority that others instinctively recognize. He is not reactive. He is not needy. He is a source, not a drain. People are drawn to this. Even if they do not understand it, they feel it. They feel the stability. They feel the power. Your presence becomes a calming, organizing force in a world of chaos. That is what earns true, lasting respect. When you waste your semen, you are constantly seeking energy from the outside world. You need attention, you need drama, you need constant stimulation. You become a beggar for psychic energy. And who respects a beggar? The man who conserves his vital force becomes a king in his own right. He is energetically self-sufficient. He does not need anything from anyone, and so paradoxically, people want to give him everything. They want to be in his presence. This is the unshakable quality you have always wished for. It does not come from pretending not to care. It comes from having such a deep well of inner resource that the little storms of life cannot touch your core. This energy, this ojas, is what fuels your mind. A continent man, the masters taught, develops a special nerve, the medha, which allows for incredible memory and understanding. Your intellect becomes sharp, your focus absolute. People respect intelligence. They respect clarity. When you speak from a place of deep energetic integrity, your thoughts are not scattered. They are potent. You see things others do not. You make connections they cannot. This is a form of power. But there is a deeper level. The respect you gain is not just for your strength or your mind. It is a response to your self-respect. The discipline of continence is the highest act of self-love and self-respect a man can perform. You are telling yourself and the universe, I am valuable. My life force is sacred. It is reserved for a higher purpose than mere sensation. It is the fuel for my growth, my creativity, and my spiritual evolution. This commitment creates an invisible shield around you. Those who are manipulative, who are looking for someone to use, will begin to avoid you. Your conserved energy feels like a solid wall to them. They cannot find a way in. They have no buttons to push. You stop being a blank canvas for their projections. They cannot dump their emotional garbage on you because your inner space is already full. It is full of your own power, your own peace, your own presence. This is how you begin to attract a different kind of person into your life. You attract people who are also whole, who respect themselves and will therefore respect you. The energetic parasites fall away and you are left with a circle of allies. So do not think of this as just a physical practice. It is a profound psychological and spiritual restructuring of your entire being. You are taking back your power from the lower impulses that have kept you weak and disrespected for so long. You are deciding that you will no longer be a puppet dancing on the strings of desire. You are choosing to become the master. And the world, which only respects masters, will have no choice but to bow to the king you have finally decided to become. When you truly begin to practice this, you will notice a change in the way you carry yourself. You will also notice a profound change in how you communicate. A deep, powerful silence will start to grow within you. This is not the silence of the weak, the silence of someone who is afraid to speak up. That is the silence of submission. The silence we are talking about here is the silence of the strong. the silence of one who no longer needs to prove anything to anyone. Why do you feel the need to respond to every comment, to correct every error, to justify your every action? It is because, deep down, you are insecure. Your ego is fragile and needs constant validation. It fears being seen as weak or wrong. The masters of the East and even thinkers like Nietzsche understood that this reactive neediness is the very definition of weakness. The man who is a slave to his reactions is a slave to the world. When you conserve your vital force, this need for validation begins to dissolve. You are filled from within. Your sense of self-worth is no longer dependent on the applause or agreement of others. This is the beginning of true freedom. And from this freedom, a new way of being is born. You start to use silence as a tool, or rather as a presence. When someone tries to provoke you, you do not react. You simply observe. You hold their gaze. You remain still. What happens in that moment is extraordinary. Your silence is not empty. It is a mirror. You force the other person to confront themselves, their own aggression, their own foolishness, without the comfort of your reaction. This is incredibly destabilizing for most people. They expect a fight. They are prepared for an argument. They are not prepared for a wall of calm, self-possessed silence. They begin to unravel. They talk more, trying to fill the void, and in doing so, they reveal their own weaknesses. Your silence tells them, "Your games have no power here. Your provocations are meaningless to me. I am operating on a different level." This is a language that even the most arrogant fool understands on a primal level. It is the language of power. This is how you win any argument without saying a word. You refuse to participate in the battle on their terms. By withdrawing your energy from the conflict, you instantly rise above it. You become the observer, the one in control. People will start to become cautious around you. They will measure their words because they no longer know how to predict or control you. You have become a mystery, and mystery commands a certain type of fearful respect. They might accuse you of being cold, distant, or arrogant. Let them. This is the panicked cry of a manipulator who has lost his favorite toy. It is a sign that you are winning. It is proof that you are no longer functional for their drama. The masters knew that this path requires courage. It requires you to be willing to be misunderstood. The herd will always be uncomfortable with the one who walks his own path. But you are not seeking the approval of the herd. You are seeking the mastery of the self. Think of the lion. He does not roar constantly to prove he is king. His power is in his quiet confidence, his relaxed presence. He is the master of his domain, and every creature knows it. The yapping dogs are the ones who make all the noise. Your conserved vital fluid is what gives you this lion-like energy. It is a quiet, solid, unshakable force. This is the presence that will earn you the respect you seek. It will come not because you demand it, but because you embody it. The masters taught that this journey could elevate a man to the status of a god. The great philosopher Shankaracharya declared, "A celibate who is endowed with spotless chastity is not a human being indeed, but a god." He asked, "To the celibate who conserves the semen with great efforts, what is there unattainable in this world?" This is the level of respect we are talking about. It goes beyond mere social standing. It is a presence so powerful, so full of conserved life, that it seems supernatural. It is the respect given to a force of nature. This is what you are throwing away. The journey to this state of being is an inner one. It requires you to face the most powerful enemy you will ever meet, your own lower nature. Lust, as a great sage once said, is the worst enemy of man. Do not underestimate this force. It is the biological imperative of the entire universe flowing through you. To stand against it requires more than just willpower. It requires wisdom and a connection to something higher. The masters teach that you cannot kill this energy, but you can redirect it. Every time you feel the pull of lust, you have a choice. You can follow it down into the gutter of fleeting sensation, or you can drive that energy upward. Drive it into your mind. Drive it into your work, your creativity, your studies, your spiritual practice. This is the great secret of alchemy, turning the lead of raw sexual impulse into the gold of spiritual power and worldly success. This requires daily practice. It means being cautious about what you see, what you read, and who you associate with. As the scriptures say, sexual propensities are at first like ripples, but they can become sea waves because of bad company. You must be vigilant, especially in the beginning. You must choose to build a fortress of purity around your mind. This is not repression. It is the strategic defense of a king protecting his treasury. And your vital fluid is the greatest treasure you possess. Every day that you succeed, you become stronger. The conserved energy reinforces your will. The brain, nourished by this potent fluid, becomes clearer and more powerful. The path gets easier, not because the enemy is weaker, but because you are stronger. Soon you will begin to see women not as objects of temptation, but as manifestations of the Divine Mother, or simply as other human souls. The frantic energy of lust will be replaced by a calm, universal love. This is a sign of immense progress. You will start to notice the frantic, needy energy in other men. You will see how they chase, how they perform, how they debase themselves for a moment of female attention. And you will see it for what it is, a profound lack of self-respect. You, by walking this path, will stand apart. You will be a beacon of self-possession in a world of desperate reactivity. Your simple, quiet presence will be a challenge to the world around you and a source of inspiration to those who are also seeking a better way. This is the ultimate respect. It is the respect that comes not from what you have, but from what you are. It is the respect that is given to a man who has conquered himself. For as the ancient wisdom says, the man who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers 1,000 men in battle. So we arrive at the final, undeniable truth. The outer world is a reflection of your inner state. The chaos, disrespect, and weakness you may feel are born from the chaos, disrespect, and weakness you have allowed to fester within your own soul. You have spent your life looking for the key to respect in the wrong places. You thought it was in money, in status, in being liked, in being clever. But the key has always been inside you. It is your life force. It is your semen. To waste it is to tell the world you are worthless. To conserve it is to build a throne of inner power from which you can rule your own life. When you make this choice, when you commit to this path of mastery, you are no longer reacting to the world. You are shaping it with your presence. The people who do not respect you will either change their tune or they will fade from your life, repelled by a power they cannot comprehend. You will lose people, yes, but you will only lose the people who benefited from your weakness. You will lose the manipulators, the users, the emotional parasites, and in their place, you will find yourself. You will begin to be respected, even if it is by few at first, because you have finally stopped explaining yourself and started being yourself. You have chosen the silence that commands respect. The path is not easy. It will require you to be misunderstood. It may require you to be lonely for a time, but it is the path to your own kingdom. It is the journey back to the king you were always meant to be. Now look at your life. Look at the compromises, the frustrations, the silent humiliations. Are you tired of it? Are you ready to draw a line in the sand and declare that your self-betrayal ends today? The choice is yours and yours alone. Continue to spill your power on the ground and be trampled upon, or conserve your sacred essence and rise to a level of respect and self-possession you never thought possible. The masters have shown the way. The choice, as always, is yours. Choose your peace, choose your power, choose yourself.